What's going on YouTube? Captain Redbeard here, back with another Division 2 video. And this time I want to show you a build that I use and I used in the beginning. It was one of the first builds that I put together because I was looking for a lot of armor with some DPS. And this one just really worked really well for me. So there's a lot of different ways to do this, but let's get into it. Alright, so starting at the top, I have the Technician. I'm using it for the skill tier, and I'm also using it for the Kingbreaker. Kingbreaker is at 133.4k total damage, assault rifle damage, health damage, and damage to target out of cover. But it's got the perfect flatline for the talent. Amplifies weapon damage by 20% to pulsed enemies. Now what I do is I just throw on the linked laser pointer, and by aiming the weapon, it pulses the enemy, amplifies weapon damage by 20% for the talent there. So that works out really nice. I do have plus 10% rounds, 5% critical hit chance, and another 5% critical hit chance, which I'm going to change that to, let's put the damage on. Yeah. Okay, so what I do is I'll build my stacks on this with the rock and roll. I have shotgun damage, damage to armor, need to be optimized a little bit more, and damage to target out of cover. But it's got perfectly extra as a talent, 50% magazine capacity increase. So these two right here, pretty key for the build. In my opinion anyway, it's the way I use it. And then for the sidearm, I'm just using the TDI card custom. So Heartbreaker. All right, I'm using the Heartbreaker 4-piece, and it's important to use on this build to get these numbers. I think it's 5.2 million total armor. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's what it is. It's a ton of armor. But you need to have the chest piece in the backpack. However else, you want to do this, that's fine. I'll start with the mask here. For this one, just to get some more DPS, I'm using the Coyote's mask, weapon damage, crit hit chance, crit hit damage, and a crit damage mod. The talent's Pack Instincts. You and all allies gain a bonus based on the distance of the last enemy you hit. 0 to 15 meters is plus 25% crit hit damage. 15 to 20 meters, plus 10% crit hit damage and 10% crit hit chance. 25 plus is 25% critical hit chance. If I'm looking for a little bit more armor on it for whatever reason, or, the status of it, you can, switch it to the Catharsis, get that vicious cycle, taking damage, build stacks to a cap of 30. Each stack grants 1% weapon damage. Taking damage at max stacks triggers a purge, removing all stacks and status effects, and then dropping a healing cloud, which restores 5% of max armor for 10 seconds to all allies in the cloud. Not bad either way. I'm just doing it like this to get, a little bit more DPS out of it. And I am sitting at 1.3 million. Switch to the Catharsis, it brings it up to 1.5. My Kingbreaker, like I said, is at 133.4. If I switch to the Catharsis, it brings it to 124.6. Still not bad at all. And down to the chest piece here, we have 4 pieces. So we have the brand set bonus for all of them. 2-piece is 15% assault rifle damage, helping that Kingbreaker out a little bit more. 15% LMG damage, but I'm not using that. 3-piece is 15% weapon handling, and the 4th is Heartstopper. Headshots apply pulse for 5 seconds. Weapon hits on pulsed enemies add a stack of 1% bonus armor and 1% weapon damage to pulsed enemies up to a max of 50 stacks. 2 stacks are lost each second. On this, I do have weapon damage and 2 crit chance. Okay. So the talent is max BPM. Increases max stacks for Heartstopper from 50 to 100. That's pretty key. So now the plus 1% bonus armor plus 1% weapon damage is maxed out at 100. So 100% bonus armor, 100% weapon damage. All right, so I'm at 1.3, that's 2.6 million armor. And then over to the backpack. Okay, it's got an armor core, critical hit chance, and critical hit damage mod. Talents Cold increases total bonus armor gained per stack of Heartstopper from 1 to 2%. All right, from 1 to 2%. So with the chest piece, you get maxed out to 100 from 50. And with the cold, it goes from 1% to 2%. 2.6, 100%, 5.2 million. All right, down to the gloves. I'm running weapon damage and critical hit chance. And for the knee pads, on armor core, critical hit damage. And for the holster, I am using Picaro's holster. Armor core, critical hit damage, and gives me 15% weapon damage. Okay, now for conflict, I will run a jammer pulse. But I'm not getting too much. I only have a skill tier 1, so it's only gonna, jam other players to skill tier 4, I believe. Could be 5. Let me know in the comments what the actual ratio is to that. I think it's 4. I think it's 3 more than whatever you have. It could be 4 though. And just a defender drone. Just give me a little bit of a percentage damage reduction when I'm using the rock and roll to kind of build those stacks. And it works pretty well. Going over the stats. So weapon damage is at 133. PvP weapon damage is just over 53,000. Critical hit chance is at 45. Critical hit damage is at 109.7. Headshot damage 75%. All weapons damage bonus is 82%. Assault rifle damage bonus 45%. Armor's just over 1.3. Max health 352. Pulse resistance 50. 10 for the rest. And there you have it. Health is 1.9. All right, so this is what I'll do. Come up, build stacks. Took a little longer to build the stacks there, but then I switch over to the Kingbreaker. And there you have it. Just over 1.3 million when it hits the critical hits. And it's just a fun set to use. Not bad. So that's it. I mean, you look at it, you can I was kind of playing around with the critical hit chance and damage mods. I did get it up to 1.35 million for the critical hits. But I just figured I would put a little bit more crit chance on it. Could do more, however you want to run it. You could change that one to chance on the mod there for the mask. Same thing with the backpack. I mean, because it is only at 45. But however you put it together, it's a lot of fun to use it. It works really well when you build up those stacks. You know, a lot of times, like in conflict or whatever, you run into that first player, you just use that shotgun to build up those stacks. A lot of times you can just get them down by staying with the shotgun, or if you want to, switch to your secondary, you know, your assault rifle, finish them off like that. Another player comes, you built up all that armor, so they're going to have a hard time with that. Unless you run into a couple players that have like really high DPS, all red builds or whatever. If you're in the dark zone with it, I've done a lot of farming with this. What I'll do is I'll just clear landmarks, and then, you know, a rogue agent will come and just try to mess with me or whatever, and I'll already have them built up, so I generally don't even have to switch over to the Kingbreaker. I'll just have the Kingbreaker at that point, and it works pretty well. I mean, you can just lay them out. Now, that's all situational, of course. If you run into a player that's, you know, got a expertise 25 Ouroboros and an all red build or whatever, and they get a line on you, whatever the case is, then they can shred pretty well. But I like using this. It works really good. It's a lot of fun. So there it is. All right. I am Captain Redbeard 253, Division Agent call sign Balls McGee 253. If you like this video, hit that like. Give me a subscribe if you haven't already. Help me support my new channel. That'd be awesome. Any questions, any comments, anything like that, leave them down below. Let me know what you guys are thinking or how you have it put together. I'm always looking to learn different things, different ways to build stuff, see what other people got going on. All right, I will see you next time. I'm out of here.